Hello everybody, Earth.Otherwise here to lay down the ground rules for the game review series, which is going to be a series of videos, one for each game played on this channel, which reviews my personal opinions of the game, what it did right and what it did wrong, and looks at how it could have done better. It will ask several questions, and the answer to these questions will give us a score. So the scoring is fairly simple. The lowest score that can be applied to a game is unacceptable. This is the only negative score, and it indicates that the game should not have been shipped with the feature that is graded as such. If an entire game is rated unacceptable, it means that the game fails so spectacularly at making me want to play it that the game should not have been shipped in the current state. And that if you, as a developer, ship a game in a similar condition, you should be ashamed of yourself, recall the game, give everyone their money back, and fix the broken elements that rates it until it rates acceptable at the very least. Acceptable is the lowest score that can be received by a game that I feel is good enough to be shipped, but not very good at all, really, and perhaps could have done with more development time. Okay is how many, if not most, games will score. The game does some things good and some things bad. It will probably never be a hit, but it should make some money, and I encourage my viewers to buy it if it's cheap, or if they like how the game looks from my Blind Run series. Good is the best score that the average game will receive. It's a game where its positives outweigh its negatives by a significant margin, and I recommend buying it unless you really didn't like how it looked in the Blind Run. Great is an amazing score that only a few games will achieve. It's reserved for games that everyone should play as an example of how everything should come together to make an experience that leaves the player always wanting more. Excellent is then reserved for games that achieve the kind of glory that makes their names remain throughout time. Games that you will compare all other games to. Excellent games should be played by everyone, no matter the background, that their lives may be enriched. Amazing games are rare. So rare that I have yet to play one or hear of one. Amazing is the hypothetical score that all games strive for. A religious experience that transcends games and touches your heart, caressing it until it beats with a new determination to live and play and see the world. A game that every human being should play. Indeed, one that should reside on every device known to mankind. Such a game, if it is ever produced, will have been handed down from the gods to us mortals, that we may taste Valhalla. Now, scoring will take place in 23 or so categories, depending on the game. So we have findability, which is the ability to find the game easily. Your game trailer, which is usually the first thing you'll see about a game. Your game description, which is generally the second thing that you're going to see about a game. Ease of purchase. The developer gets no money if it's easier to torrent a game than it is to buy it. So make it easy to buy your game. And ease of access, which is how quickly I can play the game after I buy it. If it takes 14 hours to download your game, unless I spent quite a bit of money on it, I might not even play it. Thus, the hundreds of games people have in their Steam libraries that they've never even touched after buying it in bundles. You have your aesthetic, which is the first thing I'm going to be seeing about your game, which is all the different pieces coming together to tell me what the game is. Then the music, which is your atmosphere, and some games you'll play just because you love the music. Then your art, good textures and good sprites go a long way. Animation. Janky animation is the first step to having your game be made fun of. And then your sound design. Do your guns go boom? Do the birds go tweet? Do the elephants go toot? Do you know what the fox says? We have voice acting if it's in your game, and if you're going to have some, make it good. Ease of reading. Text is good when you don't have good voice actors, but I'd better be able to read that text. If I can't, then you're going to fail at this next bit spectacularly. Your story hook. If you've got a story, I'd better either be interested in that story or make it so that the story just goes on in the background while I do my own thing. Then ease of play. How quickly can I pick up the game controls and just start playing this game? And of course, your tutorial. And if it ain't obvious what I'm supposed to do, you'd better tell me what I'm supposed to do or I'm going to get mad. We have enemy design. Rats, goblins, dragons, yawn. If your enemy design is interesting, it can bring your players back to your game. If it's boring and standard, then your game is probably boring and standard. Your character design. 4,000 Korean waifus and not a single MILF. Damn. Make sure that either your character design appeals to your demographic or that you can create characters that anybody would want to play. And I mean anybody. Then, of course, your gameplay hook. If your game feels like slapping sausages against a brick wall, I'll probably only interested in it for about 5 seconds, which is about how long I'd be interested in slapping sausages against a wall. If you disagree, please grab a sausage, walk outside, and slap it against a wall. See how long you enjoy it. Then, of course, there's your input feel. Sticky controls are for spunk simulators. Is your game a spunk simulator? Didn't think so. Unless you said yes, in which case, ew. Then, of course, your input transparency. I use the P key to open your chest menu. Why? And why didn't you tell me that? Tell me what keys I'm supposed to be using, or let me, and let me rebind them. And then, of course, there's your level design. If I'm supposed to be slashing enemies, and your levels are full of chest-high walls, we have a problem there, perhaps. So, your game feel. When I'm interacting with the game, is it telling me what I'm doing right and wrong, and do I feel good about learning? Then you have transparency of mechanics. If, in your game, 1 + 2 is fish, I would like to be able to figure that out, rather than being frustrated about things not making sense. Then your challenge. If the game is too easy, how am I supposed to feel good about beating it? And if it's too hard, I'm going to get frustrated and probably put the game down. Finding challenge balance is an art form in itself. And then rewards. If I defeated 500 rats and all I got was this t-shirt, I might not come back. Finally, the overall score is where I take the weighted averages of the above scores and tell you why you should or should not check this game out. Of course, any and all of these categories are subject to change at any time, for any reason, by me. Though I will probably make a new video discussing the changes. And finally, I will discuss where the game shows its strength and where its weaknesses shine through, and how I think that we as developers can do better by learning from this game. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you guys in the next video.